So we have completed about the manifestation of diseases, and I told you that the different diseases or the pathogens are specific. They will infect or enter through a particular organ to the body, and they affect a particular part of the body. So just in these coming slides I am going to show you some of the symptoms that generally appears when body is being affected by a particular pathogen. Like as you can see, this is the malaria disease, and malaria is caused by a protozoan called as Plasmodium, which spreads through mosquito bite. You might be knowing that it is female Anopheles mosquito that spreads that is the vector for the spreading of malaria disease. And as you can see that how it is affecting the different parts of the body. It is affecting the central part, the brain part of the body by headache, the fever, systemic fever is there, fatigue, pain are there, muscular part is affected like this, back is affected in form of pain, stomach is affected by nausea and vomiting, spleen gets enlarged, respiratory infection is there by dry cough, and finally the skin gets what we can due to chill and sweating, the skin also gets irritated. So these are some common symptoms of malaria disease. That is also one type of the question that usually comes in the examination. Write down the causes, the means of spreading of disease, and the symptoms of some specific disease. So these are in diagram I have shown you here. You have to make the notes of this and write down what are the symptoms of this. Similarly, another very common disease is tuberculosis disease, and the tuberculosis is caused by a bacteria. It is a bacterial infection, and here what are the symptoms? As you can see, cough with blood. There is a severe coughing is there, and sometimes the sputum that comes along with the blood. Along with that, there is a continuous chest pain is there. The body weight gradually reduces. There is loss in the weight of the body. Continuous coughing is there, and loss of appetite. Do you know what is appetite? If someone doesn't get that interest to eat, the eating habit is called appetite. If your appetite will be lost, then you will not develop the interest to eat. So these are the symptoms of tuberculosis, and it is highly infectious. It passes through the air. It sometimes passes through the water also to the healthy persons. So these are the symptoms of the tuberculosis. Then one of the most dreadful disease of 21st century is AIDS disease. So all of you must know what is the full form of AIDS. Can anyone know? If you know, you can note it down. Otherwise, you remember it's acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. This is a disease which is a viral infection, and the virus that spreads this disease or that causes this disease is HIV, human immunovirus. The AIDS disease is a very, very dreadful disease now in our country as well as in many countries of this world. And being you are in the education part and being the part of this chapter, you must know about the HIV disease and how that is being spread. In our previous classes, we discussed about the different means of spreading of disease. There, I have told you about the direct contact ones. Direct contact usually means sexual contact. So, some of the diseases are there that gets transmitted due to sexual contact from an infected person to a healthy person. And one of the most common disease example of that is AIDS disease. So here, as you can see, direct contact or sexual contact is not only one cause to spread the disease from person to person. And this type of disease that actually spread through the sexual contact are called as sexually transmitted diseases or STDs. Here, this particular small paragraph of this portion is given in your book, so you need to know about it. So not only sexual contact, besides that, some other modes are also there that transmit the HIV or AIDS from an infected person to a healthy person. As you can see, unprotected sex, that is the first one, either the sex with unknown partners or the sex with multiple partners is one of the major cause of spreading of disease. Besides that, you might have seen the injection drugs. You might have seen in movies and in nowadays different programs are there. The youngsters take intravenous injection for taking some drugs like heroin and cocaine and all these things. We will read about it in our later classes. So if somebody is using the intravenous injection in the same syringe, then there is probability of infection because it is a direct contact. One person using the needle, again the same needle used by the another person. So this is again one means of spreading of AIDS or HIV. Blood transfusion. You might have heard about the roads are there, road accidents. You might have heard about it. And sometimes road accident जब होता है immediate blood देना पड़ता है किसी पेशेंट को बहुत ज़्यादा bleeding हो जाता है. During that time, some people without testing their blood used to give the blood. So if the blood is being transfused from an infected person to a healthy person, there is every probability of transmission of AIDS disease. Another one is organ transplantation. You might have heard about the kidney transplant, heart transplantation. अगर किसी व्यक्ति को उसके ब्लड में HIV वायरस है and their organ is being transplanted to some other people, then there is probability of again AIDS or HIV. Besides that, non-sterile medical instrument. These are like scissor or the needles, whatever is being blade that is being used in the hospital. If it is used for a HIV positive person and then used by a healthy person, there is chances of spreading of the disease. Whereas pregnancy, childbirth and breastfeeding, there is one more reason, that is the last cause that leads to HIV. If a pregnant lady is there and she is HIV positive, there is every probability that the newborn baby may suffer from AIDS. And those who are feeding their babies, they can also, if they are also HIV positive, the baby may suffer from HIV. So these are the ways of spreading of disease. I am highlighting this. The reason is this is a very common question for exam. So just in the next part you can see HIV or AIDS does not spread. There are many misconceptions are there regarding AIDS. As I told, many people used to think AIDS spreads by sexual contact only. But it is not true. As you can see, there are so many ways are there by which the AIDS can spread. But there are many things are there through which AIDS does not spread, but people are having a misconception. Like by hugging or kissing, by touching each other, skin to skin contact or shaking hand, by mosquito or other insect bites. There is no chances of spreading of HIV by this means. Neither with the sweat or tears of an infected person, or by sharing a towel or toilet or bedding of an infected person, not even by sharing the food. These are the misconceptions. People are having misconception. These do not lead to the spread of the disease. So with this you have to be clear about the idea of spreading of the diseases. Now up to that question we have a clear idea about various types of diseases, about the causes of diseases. I told you about how the organs, specific organs are getting manifested by certain particular pathogens. Now let us discuss about why not all people are affected with the disease, why only some people are getting affected. In our country, millions and billions of people are there, but only few lakhs people now are getting infected with the disease, with this corona disease. So have you ever tried to know, analyze yourself why it happens? If we will analyze more and more, we will come to know that it's all about our own body system. If we are able to fight with the disease-causing pathogen, if our body can fight with them, then we may not suffer with any disease immediately. But if we cannot fight with the pathogen, then we may fall sick. So what's that ability is called as? As you can see, this is the body system. These are the different pathogens, and our body resists the pathogens due to the ability that's called as the immunity. So it is called as the disease resistance immunity, disease resistance ability of the individual person. जिसका इम्यूनिटी जितना स्ट्रांग होता है वो उतने ही अच्छी तरह से डिजीज से फाइट कर सकता है. दैट्स द रीजन यू माइट बी नोइंग, आप एड में सुन रहे हैं, यू टेक दिस थिंग्स व्हिच विल डेवलप योर इम्यूनिटी, फूडिंग ग्रीन वेजिटेबल्स, दिस एनहांसेस द इम्यूनिटी. नाउ what is immune system? As I said you that human being body consists of many organ and organ system. So immunity develop करने के लिए भी there are certain organs are there in our body and all together forms the immune system of our body. So some microbe compromise the immune system or immunity. Some microbes compromise with our body system. Whenever a pathogen tries to enter into the body's immune system, there are some immune cells are there, they produce antibody. That antibody works like a soldier. You know soldier? They fight for us, they defeat the enemy. So here the pathogen or antigen can be considered as a enemy, and when they try to enter into our body produce some antibody and it fights with them. So when the antibodies are produced, the pathogen cannot enter into the body and the body remains free from the disease. So this is called as the immune system or immune power. This immune system is activated in response to the disease and recruits cells to kill off the disease causing microbe by the process of immunization. As I told you, that antibody which will be produced in our body in response to an attack of a pathogen, that will ultimately kill the pathogen, and that process of killing of those cells or pathogen is called as inflammation. That process is called as, I'm sorry, it was not immunization, it was called inflammation. So as you can see here, this total diagram, the inflammation, obesity is there, metabolic syndrome, infection, injury, arthritis, these are varieties of type of the diseases are there. And all these diseases are related to our immune system. If our immune system is very much strong enough, then we can resist these diseases. We can easily resist these diseases. Severity of disease manifestation depends on the number of microbes available in the body. How many microbes are there in the body? That will decide about the severity of a disease. Whether it is, if the HIV viruses are very negligible in the body, the disease will not be identified. It can only be identified when it is more and more in the body. So immune system is a major factor that determines the number of microbes in the body. You are going for the malaria test. Do you know what happens in the malaria test? The blood test is being taken up. When the blood is being tested, if the plasmodium is there in the body, in response to that plasmodium, some antibodies might be produced in our body. And those antibodies, if it is found in the blood, that confirms the malaria disease or plasmodium infection. So it all depends upon the number of microbes that is present in the body that will identify the severity. So the immune system plays a very important role in providing protection to the body from different type of the pathogen. Now let's discuss about how to protect ourselves from the various type of disease. As before few slides I have told you about antibiotics, some drugs, some chemicals we are taking to treat a particular disease. Now what are the principles based on which the treatment occurs? There are two basic principles are there. We know the pathogen causes the disease, and we know that for treatment we have to get rid of this pathogen. So there are two ways are there, two principles of the treatment is there. The first one is to reduce the effect of disease. If you are suffering from headache, then what we will prefer? We would like to go for a sleep, sound sleep. if we will sleep, take rest for 2-3 hours, then automatically we may reduce that headache. So that is the first principle, to reduce the effect of the disease. That can be possible by medicines, that can be possible by taking complete rest to conserve the body energy. Whereas the second principle is to kill the cause of the disease. Either you reduce the effect of disease, second one is to kill the cause of the disease. If the cause of the disease, that is the pathogen, is killed, then automatically there will be no disease anymore. That's called as the second principle, by taking suitable antibiotics and drugs that may that may kill the microbes. So this is all about the principle of treatment. Now you tell me, whenever you are suffering from a disease, then you are taking medicine. Even if you are taking medicine, you have to take rest, or your body suffers for at least 2 days, 3 days, 5 days or 7 days. That's the pain the body gets. So in order to get rid of that pain, why don't we think that while we will suffer from disease and then we will take medicine, it is better that we should take some precaution so that disease will not at all occur. That is called prevention. Prevention is always better than cure, because once we will suffer and take the medicine, it's not visible. Instead of that, we will always try that we should protect ourselves from different type of diseases. Then many people used to ask, this is a very important question also for the examination, justify why prevention is better than cure. Then what may be the reason for that? Once someone has a disease, may not recover completely, isn't it? If somebody is suffering from malaria, then maybe after 15 days or 20 days you are fine, but you are not completely recovering. Your body still have got some tiredness. So that is one of the reasons. That's why we will prefer prevention than for treatment or cure. Treatment takes some time. It may be long time, it may be short time, but treatment takes time, and during that time the body suffers, the body gets pain. Then third and the most important cause because of which prevention is preferable is the patient or the affected person can serve as a source of infection for others. Till the time period we are getting cured, during that time period we may affect some other people also. And the best example is smallpox. If somebody has that pox, it may happen that that fellow will recover easily, but during that period that fellow might have spread the disease to many other people. So that is the reason prevention should be applied. Prevention much better than the cure. As you can see, there is a simple comparison I have made. Prevention is quite easy as compared to cure, because it is complicated. You have to take medicines, antibiotic and all these things. Prevention without any cost you can afford it, whereas cure you have to give a lot of money, it is expensive. For by prevention you can live a healthy life, whereas when you are going for the treatment, it time consuming. It is always having a happy family in prevention. You are not going to give any pressure, any extra work to your family member, whereas whenever a person is suffering from a disease, for the treatment there is a stress on family. So that goes with that whenever we are saying about prevention and cure, prevention is much better than the cure. So when we say about prevention, as I said earlier, treatment is based on certain principles. Similarly, prevention is also based on certain principles. What are those principles? If we will analyze, there are certain general ways of preventions are there and some specific way of preventions are there. What does the prevention word means? Prevention means instead of taking medicine or treatment, if we will try to protect ourselves from the pathogens in different ways. Like if our surrounding is clean, flies will not come. So that is a prevention measure. If we know that in a crowded area infection chances are more, then we should avoid crowded area. It is a preventive measure. So let us just have just a general look on some general ways of prevention. prevention, as you can see, preventing exposure against microbe. So general ways means people should take some step. हम लोग को ऐसा करना चाहिए कि हमें माइक्रोब के एक्सपोजर से थोड़ा बचना चाहिए. We should try to protect ourselves from the exposure from microbe. This is a general way of prevention. By that, and for that we have to boost our immune system. We have to take green vegetables. We should take good balanced diet to boost our immune system. We should avoid overcrowded area. हमें पता है कि overcrowded area में some people might be suffering from cold, cough, or some any other airborne disease. So we should avoid that area. Then generally we will not suffer from those diseases. Always prefer safe drinking water. That's a general way of prevention, so that people may not suffer from any waterborne disease. Providing clean environment, as I said before just few seconds ago. If our surrounding is clean, if we are having a neat and clean environment, mosquitoes, flies will not be there. So automatically we may not suffer from any disease caused by them. And last and the most important one is availability of nutritious and balanced diet, sufficient food. If a person is getting balanced diet, nutritious food, then there is every probability that they may not suffer from diseases caused due to that. So these are some general ways of prevention, जिसको हम generalize कर सकते हैं, सभी के लिए applicable है. लेकिन there are some preventive ways are there which are specific for particular diseases. Those are called specific ways. For example, protection against a specific microbe by developing immunity to kill them. We know that a particular microbe causes a particular disease, and we are developing immunity against that particular microbe. For example, pox, smallpox or polio. We know that polio virus causes polio disease. If our body is developing immunity against polio virus, then automatically we may prevent ourselves from getting affected or infected with polio virus. How it can be possible? That can be possible artificially by developing immunity against that particular pathogen. So it can be inborn or it can be acquired after birth. That is coming under immunization concept. When artificially we are developing our immunity by injecting a vaccine into our body for a particular or a specific pathogen, the process is called as immunization. And the immunization is basically of two types. One is called active, another one is called passive. Active immunization usually develops when we are born, that is inbuilt within our body. Whereas passive immunization can be developed after birth by injecting some vaccines into the body. So what happens actually in the immunization? Some weakened pathogen in the host body to produce, injecting some pathogen. जैसे कि मैंने आपको बताया किसी particular pathogen that causes a particular disease. We have to take the pathogen, we have to extract that dead pathogen or weakened pathogen and inject it into the body of a healthy person in the form of vaccine. So the body immune system will develop antibodies, and those antibodies will fight against that pathogen when next time it will enter into the body, because our immune system remembers this. And this is possible by the process of vaccination, which means providing the immunity to a healthy person by giving vaccine. So sometimes that is also a question, very important question. What is vaccine? The dead or weakened pathogen injected to produce antibody in the healthy person's body is called as vaccines. You might have known about that polio vaccine, hepatitis vaccine, DPD, BCG. These are some of the vaccines which are given in different age group to the children so that they can get immune to those pathogens when they will enter in future to our body. So that is the reason the immune system has to be very strong to fight with the different type of the pathogen. We need to know about this immunity programs. There are so many immunization programs are going on nearby our surrounding. Now you are not being able to go outside, but you can collect information about the different immunization program which have been conducted nearby our surrounding. It is not given in the book, but I have just tried to collect some information for you. A little bit common vaccines that is being given to the children of different age group, like BCG. It is immediately given to a newborn or infant against the disease like tuberculosis, bladder cancer. In सबसे protection मिलता है. These pathogens cannot produce or cannot infect the body if they have been given these vaccines. Like polio vaccine is given to protect the body from polio disease. PCV is given for protecting the body from producing antibody for pneumonia disease. MMR is given for protecting measles, mumps and rubella disease. Hep A, it is a vaccine that is given to the children to protect them from liver diseases. Then DTP, that is also a common one, different doses it is being given, diphtheria, tetanus and pertussis. These are some common vaccines I have given. There are many more vaccines are there. Now the government is introducing more and more vaccine so that the children, if they will be given these vaccines, they will be immune to those pathogens or those diseases in their near future. But sometimes what happens that children, those who plays outside, those are coming in contact with the water and air continuously, pathogens continuously. By default, their body develops immunity against it. That's why Indian children usually of 4 or 5 years in rural area, because they are frequently going to rivers and ponds for their bath. So they come across the hepatitis virus continuously and their body gets immune to those viruses. That's why the children in India up to 5 years age may not suffer from hepatitis A very easily, because by default their body gets immune to that. The antibodies are produced within them. So these are the total concept what we learned in this chapter. Why a person falls sick, what is the reason behind them, why we people are suffering from various types of diseases, what are the basic causes of that, how can we protect ourselves from various type of diseases, what are the preventive measures. We discussed about the various means of spreading of diseases, organ manifestation, and at the same time in the chapter I told you about immunization program and the varieties of vaccines. So with this we conclude the chapter here, and I have given some questions to you. You will prepare, after reading the textbook, you will prepare all these questions and you write down these questions along with the answers by referring the textbook and referring the PPT material, and try to solve all these answers. These are quite important for your exams, and I just hope you will take care of yourself. Now you know the concepts clearly, and with that hope I am concluding that you will always stay happy and you will always stay healthy by protecting yourself from various types of the disease causing pathogens. Thank you very much.